Hey guys, welcome to JoJo Cider Reviews and More. I'm JoJo. So this weekend I'm going to be filming several reviews, and they're going to be reviews about some of the more popular macro beers. And I wanted to start with one of the beers that I've had a lot of times in my life, and I have good memories associated with it. So I wanted to kind of do a review on it, and that's going to be Busch. Busch Heavy, also known as Busch Heavy, and it's brewed in the USA by Anheuser-Busch, and St. Louis, Missouri. 4.3% alcohol by volume. There is a ton of history with this beer, a ton of history. It was started in 1955, and it was known as Busch Bavarian beer until 1979, where they dropped the Bavarian and just called it Busch. And you might remember some of the commercials if you've seen them on YouTube. If you remember them from back then, a lot of them commercials had to do with camping, the outdoors, and had their classic slogan. When you open the beer, you say Busch, and that was kind of their staple, phrase. So fast track to, let's see, the 1989, it was known as Busch Light Draft came out. And so when they say draft beer, just so you know, it's the filtering process. It's cold filtering the beer. That's where the beer is chilled, so protein molecules clump together and more easily move. And it's not heat pasteurized. So in the 90s, though, they stopped doing that and it just became regular light beer. But yeah, if you remember also, the Flintstones had a series of advertisements promoting Busch beer. It's kind of funny to think about that now. Cartoon would never promote alcohol, but back then they promoted not just beer but also cigarettes, Winston cigarettes as well. But they were known for Flintstones were known to promote Busch beer. So let's get into it though. This is my last I got a 30 pack of these like several months ago. This is literally my last one I wanted to review for you guys. So this is the blue and kind of gold can. They had the camouflage cans for a while. I think they might still have some. So just going for the pour. You can already tell classic straw color that you get in a lot of these macro lagers. Very crisp just by the sight of it. A lot of bubbles streaming up to the surface. You can see right through the glass. The light is shining straight through. Yellow gold color, mostly yellow, maybe a tint of orange as well. But it is a white head, dissipating pretty quickly, less than a finger, I would say. At its peak, maybe it was one finger. It's going for the aroma. Yeah, classic malt, white bread, crackers, grainy, a little bit of a sweetness, maybe a corn. Getting a little bit of, I don't know if it's from the yeast, not a ton, just a little bit of spice in the aroma too. I think the head is pretty much totally gone now. But without further ado, guys, Busch beer, salute. Crisp, clean. It's interesting. It is a little bit sweet, and I noticed that this Anheuser-Busch product, when you're drinking Budweisers, Bud Heavies, I've always noticed a kind of a sweetness with the Budweisers as well. I'm kind of tasting it with this as well on my palate. So I'm not sure if that's like an Anheuser-Busch thing, but I am getting a decent amount of sweetness in this. Yeah, super clean though, dry finish. I gotta say, of all the macro beers, honestly, to me, Busch reminds me just of like the outdoors, of camping, just hanging out in the summer. Might not be as popular as like Budweiser, Bud Light, or even Coors Light, Miller Lite, but just when I think of the outdoors, I think of Busch. I really do. It's just a staple beer. It's been around forever. It's a solid beer. Mouthfeel is light, very sessionable, 4.3%. Drink a ton of these and be fine. Again, they have the Buschhhh Light, which I'll do a review of in the future. That's a whole other story, but Buschhhh itself is still very popular. Anheuser-Busch products. Let's see, one more sip before the score. That corn, a little bit of a corn taste too, like a corn syrupy taste, but not in a bad way. It's not like overpowering. It's just a little bit. It's definitely a sweetness though, like I said, you get with the Budweisers. But I mean, is it my favorite macro beer? I don't know. I mean, I think it's hard to do some of these beers. You'd have to do a blind taste test. I think. I mean, I think my favorite of the macro lagers is a Coors Banquet, Coors Heavy. But this is very good. This has a kind of a sweetness that you don't get with the Coors Banquet. If you're, you kind of study beers a lot, you know that the Coors Banquet has a specific kind of yeast where you get those kind of banana notes in there. So Coors Banquet is kind of, to me, it's like in its own category as far as lagers, has that unique taste. But this, along with the Budweiser, gets you get a sweetness, really notes of sweetness on the palate. I'm going to give it an 86. I think it's a high-end B. Solid beer for what it is, judging within the American macro lager style. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like outstanding, but it's a solid beer, and I'm gonna get it again throughout my life, and I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this beer. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. If you like this content, feel free to subscribe. Until next time, salute.